So we're just going to touch on that, and just for our audience to know, we're going to do this in a succession of series. So we're going to take you through the journey of Andrew buying that property and going through the steps and the due diligence. So we're really going to get to the granular experience of what you went through and the negotiations. I'm going to mention it was an off-market property, and it was more to what you could see in the photographs, because we actually flew up to go and see the property. We met there and walked through. It was a great property. I think it is a great property. So we will drill down a little bit more into the property itself. But just that, the purpose of today's show would be that just to break over that line, because I think a lot of people get to the point where they're on a property, they're about to go, and that fear factor, you mentioned it, of what is it that just pushes you over the edge. So from my perspective, and I mean, I've been doing this a lot, and I've realized, and you said it earlier, is if you're not doing it, you're never going to get it. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So, and I think that's what happened. If I remember, we had a conversation just before, and I said to you, Andrew, nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't get your feet wet, you'll never learn to swim.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all of that. It's all of the above. And I think for me, it was. It's never as bad as it. You're thinking in your own mind. It's all you're doing is like we're hitting the button here. We're putting a deposit down after you've got an agreed price and so forth. But so all of that was playing out in your mind, but it's all happening in real time, obviously, as well. So,
Andrew, I wanted to ask you one more thing, just to end off today's interview. When you came on board and you worked with us, I introduced you to my entire team. So we introduced you to finance, to accountants, solicitors, and to the team that actually helped you across the. And you worked, with all due respect, you worked very closely with my team. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about how that went for you? How did you feel about it? Did it work for you? The platforms that we were working on, the communications, and that little journey?
Yes, for sure. One thing I definitely have come to appreciate through the experiences is commercial property is a team sport, hands down. It doesn't happen otherwise, unless you're a bit of a freak and you know everything, but it doesn't quite work like that. So yeah, I touched base with all of your referrals and the team that you use, and they're all great. Didn't end up using the accounting firm because I have an accountant, and we had a lengthy chat. I decided to go that way, but I definitely would have used that firm. We had a really good conversation, I should say. And then, legal was great. Insurance, fantastic. Commercial warehouse on the finance side was very good as well. Yeah, it all went really well. And they're all conversations separately that I would have, I wouldn't say at length, but I was definitely digging deeper. It wasn't just a cursory, well, you sort it out and whatever. I'm the type of person that likes to understand things, like what am I doing? And obviously an asset purchase of this size and you're thinking of risk, it's important to understand it somewhat. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And the internal team, we put you onto the chats. And this is important for me because I like a lot of communication. And from my perspective, I like my clients to know every step of the way. I like them to be informed. And when we do this, from my perspective, I want my entire team to buy into it. So you were dealing with my assistant at the time, which was Paula, I think, with Moses.
Yeah.
Okay, so our entire internal team. How did you feel about that communication? Were you getting the responses? Were you getting the answers that you needed from them, and the paper trail?
Sure. Yeah. No, Paula and I spoke a lot in the end, and the three of us obviously would speak a lot. I'm actually a new fan of voice recording on WhatsApp. Because you and I do that all the time now. But I just think you get lost in text like emails, I find. now. So those voice recordings are, they're
gold.
stimulating. You're getting the nuance. You're getting a bit of, is there a bit of attitude here? Is there a bit of, I'm worried about something or whatever it might be. So you get a better picture of what's going on. You respond in real time, just collecting your thoughts rather than trying to write it out. So that is working with Paula and yourself. Most is a bit more an email, so a bit more of a static communication with him because you're doing different type of role.
Different operation.
So, but in the search and the deal phase, yeah, the communication was great. Like I didn't feel like, oh, what's going on here? I don't have enough information, and I'm very much like that. I'd like to have that information and be able to. If someone was to ask me a question, how's it going buying the commercial property? I'd like to be able to answer them. This is the challenge we've come across. This is what we're doing about it, and so on. And I could do that every time.
So you felt informed right throughout the process. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to that fear topic that we were talking about.
Yep.
Just once you do step across the line and you get into it, well, it's a different context then. You're like, well, we're into it now. So we just got to keep going. We've got to push through this and do the bits and pieces that we need to do. You could be left a bit high and dry in that stage as well, which might make you doubt. But when we're in that stage, it didn't happen.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. And I'm a big advocate of voice messaging because, as you say, you pick up the nuances, there's no missing communications, and it's instant. It's very, very instant. And often what happens is you busy or we busy and we can't get onto a phone call, and that just takes phone call out. You can have a 4-second chat that just says, no, do it this way for whatever reasons. Yeah, I'm definitely a huge advocate of that. I think and a lot of people, get over it and get used to it and actually get to like it.
Yeah.
So Andrew, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say, could I say that you went through a mentoring experience with me? And on a scale of 1 to 10, when you started versus by the time you finished and we settled that property, how much more did you know? 1 being very low, 10 being really high in that process. So there's 2 questions in there, mentoring and knowledge.
Yeah, so the mentoring absolutely felt quite supported, and I'd ask you a lot of questions.
Yes, you did.
Because I enjoyed that. And I asked Paula questions as well. So, and if Paula didn't know, she's great. She said, "Look, I don't know. I'll go and check," and she did, and she'll tell me. So it was fine, or she'll defer to yourself. So the mentoring and the support side of things was a rich experience, I would say. Because I was building knowledge. I'm a bit of a lifelong learner, I guess, as they say. So that part was great. And as to the second part, what was the second part of that question again? Sorry.
On a scale of 1 to 10, by the time we settled that property and settled you into the property, how did you feel about, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much had you learned?
Yeah, sure. So to give you the score for the first part, which I didn't do, no, that was a 9, 10 out of 10. That was great. I really enjoyed the experience.